was jamming. And it's your girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, queen of spice. I want to start off the show. We got some new tools. Shout out to Najee making the beats from scratch. What y'all just heard was his art coming to life. He created a new intro for my show, so shout out to you. We're also going to be making a post later on of him creating the beat, so be on the lookout for that. But thank you, kind sir, for your art. Yes. I want to start off with just some great news. Mina Mendoza did her show on Sunday, and it was great. It was amazing. The vibes were amazing. Shout out to Garden State Warriors. They absolutely brought so much amazing things to the stage. Shout out to everybody that was involved. Shout out to Bravery Studios. Yo, Bravery Studios did it up. Yo, we had engineers with sounds. Bro, we had Najee up in his island. Freaking everybody was doing their own thing. Yo, shout out to Hugo, Crisabalo, Sully, Matthias, dog. Everybody literally came through, and like the beautiful feedback that I heard at the end of the show was the end of the show was like that it actually felt like a talk show. Like someone felt like they were in a live talk show, which is the vibe that I was going for. Like I wanted to go for a Conan O'Brien vibe. I wanted to give that vibe. So the fact that I was able to give that and like see the amount of smiles on the face was beautiful. Also, shout out to Penny, who was there in person, but she was the person on camera, which I feel like made the skit chef's kiss. But yeah, it was a beautiful time. Shout out to all the vendors. Everybody ate good. Everybody drank. Shout out to Lucas. He played Family Feud with us. He also sold a lot of dope clothing pieces. I feel like everybody truly came together that night and showed up and built community. And it was honestly amazing to see. And this is not going to be the last of Mina Mendoza. I'm going to be doing more shows like this where it's going to be about being creative and bringing people together, bringing the spice, no bland shit. And it was a vibe. And I just want to thank everyone that was there to support me and just make the spice magic happen. So, yeah, I did it. We did it, Joe. All right. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my extra special spicy guest today. Well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
I have to introduce myself?
Yeah.
I was waiting for
You're the name. I got so many names for you in my bio, but I'm like, what do you want to go with?
Well, I wanted the spicy introduction from you. So,
I got you.
Oh, yeah, so this is your show. I want you to do what you do best. So
I
want the spicy intro.
Oh, I did. You just got to say your name. I did. You just got to say your name.
My name is Marqus Aycart, and I am a brand developer with over 23 years of experience.
He builds mad brands, dog, mad brands.
And it's funny, not to get too detailed into it. Speaking of brands, you, Marvin, and I were just talking about a story that, you know, the world of branding has taken me to many different places with all kinds of people.
Facts.
Good, bad, and ugly.
Well, we're gonna keep it positive though. We're gonna keep it positive. First thing that I like to do, Marcus, I've been getting into a habit of asking my guests this question. What did you have for breakfast this morning?
It's going to be a real easy answer. I don't eat breakfast.
Why?
I've never been a breakfast person.
Why?
And it's not my thing.
You don't like pancakes?
I don't like feeling full in the morning.
You don't like eggs?
I do love eggs.
Do you eat eggs for lunch?
I do eat eggs for lunch or dinner. But I usually just eat lunch, and I eat a big lunch, and that's usually it. And it's funny, now today everyone's like, oh, that's called intermittent fasting. I'm like,
intermediate, yeah.
Yeah, that's not, you could call it whatever you want. That's just how I eat. I don't eat breakfast. I usually eat a very big lunch, and maybe I'll eat a dinner. But the thing that I have to control is, because I stay up very late doing work, I try not to eat past 8, but that's very hard.
So you be snacking?
I sometimes I want those Scooby snacks.
Okay,
you know?
What's your favorite snack?
Oh, my
Especially
God.
when you're in like creative mode. They gotta build these brands.
My favorite snack, whether it's creative mode or not, I want it all the time, but I have to control it. Chicharrón. I love a good chicharrón.
Chicharrón de pollo or like
no,
just
like
chicharrón?
Actual chicharrón. But I like so in the South they call it crackling. And I remember I lived in Texas, in Houston. I lived in Houston for 5 years, in Austin for 5 years, and every time I would drive from New York or Jersey to Houston, towards the tail end of the trip was Route 10. I would pass through Scott, Louisiana, and there was a place called Don's Specialty Meats, and they were famous for chicharrón, but it's called crackling. But this is the kind that has the skin, the fat, and the meat, and they season it with whatever it is. They season that Louisiana magic. Oh my God!
Yeah.
You would see me there with a pound of that stuff, and it'd be like the brown paper bag, and I was up to no good because you see all the greasy stains on the brown bag.
Going in. That should sound good though. All right, so we're going to jump into the bio that was sent. So I'm going to be asking questions based on your bio. I'm going to ask some funny questions and some spicy ones. So how did growing up in NYC, starting with graffiti, shape your creative identity?
I grew up in New York in a time where it wasn't as posh or as amazing as it is today. I grew up during those New Jack City days, like when it was... we were kids. We would go play in the playground in school because I went to school in Harlem, and there'd be either torn up pages of pornography or crack vials. And it wasn't obviously the most pleasant, but it's always a funny recollection and memory. But that rough and raw New York that I grew up with at that time, when people were stealing people's starter hats, their Timberlands, their 8-ball jackets, it's kind of survival of the fittest kind of mindset. And that you needed some kind of escape, right? When you were done fighting, because there's a lot of fighting growing up, you needed some kind of escape. And my father taught me to hone in on the creativeness that resided in our family. Like, he was always creative, but he worked as an accountant for Columbia University. But he always taught me how to draw, and then that drawing then led to scribbling on everything. And next thing you know, I'm drawing on the school tabletops, in the bathroom walls with a Sharpie. And then eventually that led to graffiti, and then that opened up my world to something that's super important to me to this day, community. Finding other like-minded people that share in the same passion of either creating or what they called bombing back then. I don't know what it's called anymore. Or doing pieces.
Tagging, whatever.
Tagging pieces. That opened up my world that, wow, there's other people that think like me, that love what I love. And then, there's always the in-between. We talk about our favorite shows, our favorite movies, or things that make us laugh, favorite foods. And that was the escape, right? The creativity in a world where, because New York City at the time was my world, I knew nothing else. That was the escape. And I love that I found a world where I can express myself, but also community.
So my question, like, when you were doing graffiti, Marcus, was you out here, like, grappling, like, off of buildings? Like, what's up, you Spider-Man, dog? What we doing here?
No, I was never that athletic.
What was your tag name? Would you Marcus?
No.
Yo, you gotta share it.
Yeah. So at first it started out as Wizzo, W-Y-S-O, because there used to be these, I think they were called Wizzo Wax, these mixtapes that were all silver or see-through, and the things that spun were silver, like platinum.
Yeah.
And I said, ooh, I like that Wizzo. So I went with that, and then eventually, because it's also, when you're tagging, it's got to be something quick.
Yeah, you're gonna get arrested.
If you got a long-ass name, you're getting caught all the time. So it was Wizzo, W-Y-S-O, instantly. And then how that turned into the world of DJing, nightlife, and clubs, somehow the world of graffiti led to that. And my name went from Wizzo to AKA DJ Casanova, AKA Case Nova. But that's a story for, I don't think we have enough time for that.
Okay. So I just get curious because I do know a couple people that do graffiti to this day. And I'm learning about it. And I'm just like, wow, like now when I look at graffiti, I'm like, wow, I know who that is. And then there's like graffiti beef, like I'm just gonna put my name over this shit. Yeah. Or like, so I've seen, I'm looking at it now at a different light. So I was like, wow. And then it's crazy because like I'll visit somewhere and then I'll visit somewhere else. And I'm like, you were here? That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and the world of graffiti has changed because now it's more considered an art form.
Oh, definitely.
And now people will do stuff like, I think there's a guy, Space Invader, where his form of graffiti is he'll make tiles, like tiles of, remember that game Space Invaders? So he'll do that, and you'll be like in Paris and like, oh shoot, Space Invader was here.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to transition, though. We're going to transition. So, how did you... Well, we kind of answered that already. What's the important lesson you learned in your 23 years of brand development?
That there are a lot of people with creative and strategic constraints.
What does that mean?
So,
well, I know what that means, but what do you mean by it?
So what I mean is that branding is more than just, having a cool logo, a functional website, all of the printed or signage collateral that represents your brand and organization. It's your messaging, it's your strategizing, it's your ability to tell your story. And there's a lot of clients, whether they're startups or they're established clients that have been around for 30 years, but now they're realizing, oh my God, it's 2025 and my market has changed. They do not know how to make that pivot, or they simply don't know how to start. So one of the programs that I've created is called Building a Solid Brand Foundation. Everyone's focused on building the skyscraper and getting that penthouse floor all built, but they negate and neglect the foundation.
Okay.
So if you don't have a strong, a solid and strong foundation, how can you build anything after that?
True. He's dropping gems. He's dropping gems, Doug.
So there's a lot of clients out there that I think they fluster themselves or they frustrate themselves, and obviously that equates to stress because they're so focused on what's at the end of the tunnel than focusing on what's right in front of you. So say you built a business that's, I don't know, like a shoe-based business.
Yeah.
You're focused on the product, which is fantastic. You're focused on the service, which is, I'm trying to get these products into such and such's hands because my product is totally different than the rest. And that's where the problem lies. They're so focused on the product and the service that they forget that what makes them stand out and makes them unique. And when I say unique, is Y-O unique, is the experience. Sell the experience. And a lot of clients don't focus on that because they're so focused on the end goal.
Dummies. Nah, let me stop.
They're not focused on the step by step, right? You have to be able to crawl before you walk. You have to be able to walk before you run. And ideally, you have to be able to run before you start flying, right?
This is true. This is true, but not for Kobe Bryant.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I always love that quote because it's so true, yo. They found him in high school. They were like, you don't got to go to college. Just come straight to the NBA.
Oh, you meant that. I thought you meant no flying for Kobe Bryant because of the helicopter
No,
thing.
chill.
Like,
Se pasó, dog. Nah, there was a helicopter accident today, dog. Yo, te pasaste.
I was like, that's it. No more
Too
helicopter
soon, dog.
tours.
Nah, I was talking about his life and how he got recruited. Come over here. Yeah, so little people that don't
Mina,
know.
Jesus.
Nah, dog. He freaking went from the high school to the NBA just straight.
Well,
They were
same
like,
thing
you don't
with
need college.
with Jordan did go to college, right? He played
Yeah,
for
he
the Tar
played.
Heels,
Yep.
yeah. But then he went from that to
Yeah.
superstar.
All right. So we're going to get funny. If branding was a pizza, what toppings would you describe yours?
Oh my God, mine's would be pepperoni.
Okay.
Some sliced meatballs on that.
Okay.
A little bit of ricotta.
Okay.
Some jalapenos.
The spice.
I need the spice. And a nice buffalo cheese. And then top that off with some sliced Parmesan Romano.
You said buffalo cheese?
Yeah, that's like
I was
fresh,
like, did he mean buffalo sauce? I was like, buffalo.
Buffalo. I believe I'm
cheese.
pronouncing that correct. It's a mozzarella
Buffalo.
that's like handmade, and I think it's imported from.
Oh, this guy's fancy.
Rome.
fancy. Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I actually had a slice like that yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shout out to
And it has to be
Artichoke.
Sicilian style.
Okay.
Like in a square.
I like Sicilian, but sometimes I feel like it's so much bread.
That's why you gotta get a Sicilian that's not so thick. You have to like
Like
kind of
a
like a
thin
flat,
thin?
like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in
yeah.
between, like like there's There's deep dish style, and then there's...
I don't think I've had a deep dish pizza.
I'm going to put you on. So when I lived in Austin, funny, out of all places...
I was like, isn't that in Chicago?
Chicago, oh my God. But those pizzas, they eat it with a knife and fork, and I see why. I mean, it's a meal. One slice is your dinner.
Really?
But when I lived in Austin, a new place opened up that was Detroit-style pizza. And it's done Sicilian style, but not so thick. And instead of the sauce being under the cheese... The sauce is
so it's like a
top.
grandma's pie, kind of?
I guess, unless if grandma's from Detroit, I don't know.
I'm hungry.
And it was cool. This place was serving them on top of hubcaps. Because, Detroit is...
it's the GM.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's...
Even though they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think they're still going. Yeah, but that's something I know about Detroit. It's GM Motors, right? Like the capital of it.
Detroit is awesome. I love Detroit.
I've never been there, but I will go. All right, let's talk about it. If you could brand a planet, what would you call it and why?
Holy Jesus.
Nice.
Wow, what a question.
What a question.
If I could brand a planet, well, first let's focus on what the brand is about. The brand is about peace, right? Unity, love, fun.
Okay.
Pursuing the things that make
Sounds
you happy.
like a rave concert.
A big old rave concert all the time. But yeah, I mean, so once you have what you want to build, right? The culture, the lifestyle, the movement, the push, the camaraderie, the unity, the community, then we go into the name and then the identity, right? The logo. Mm-hmm. So what would I name that? Oh my goodness. I guess since you're putting me on the spot, I'm going to cheat. Call it Utopias instead of Utopia.
Utopias. Okay. Okay. Utopias. All right. So, we're going to get spicy. What's a red flag in a brand strategy meeting?
Oof.
Because a lot of people that are watching this right now, we don't know what this world is like. So, like, if people are jumping into this world, like, what would be like automatic red flag?
And that's why I'm happy to be here. It's funny because the roles are reversed. I do a fun hobby podcast here, and I recently did a business podcast because obviously I love Bravery Studios. And I've watched your show, and I love how your audience and your demographic is youthful. It's very diverse and wide. It runs the gamut, right?
Hey.
And why I'm so happy to be here today and spread this message of building your solid brand foundation is education. So I lead with education and research.
Okay.
A lot of agencies or individuals that are in this world negate that. And because the culture has been driven in that format or that way, a lot of clients don't know to expect that. But let's say, okay, everyone here, and not by no means offensive because people don't know, right? In the most layman's of way, when you build a brand, do your homework. Do your homework. So the red flag is if I meet a client and they didn't do their homework. So I have one client right now that we're building them everything. And they're telling us it's a special needs event planning business.
Okay.
And they said, okay, we want a balloon, and then the name is this. And so right now we're in the phase where I have to fight them. Like, I have to fight the way they think, the way they do things, and teach them what's the right way, and then educate them not only in their...
You gotta pop the balloon.
I have to pop the balloon.
Fuck this balloon. Yo.
So, like in this particular instance, this client hired us, and the number one frustration that sometimes we encounter is that the client comes to us and says, well, this is how it was for the past 13 years. Well, that's clearly not working. So that's why you're here in front of us in the office.
Yeah, facts.
Or you're brand new to this, but then you're telling us how it should be when our job is to be objective and neutral and look at it from the outside in instead of the inside. We're not here to be personal.
You're like in an open mindset. Well, this person is fixated.
Yes,
and
correct.
that doesn't allow growth.
So ignorance is obviously a big challenge, but that's okay. I don't mind educating and teaching. That's my job. But when you continue to fight me holding on to that ignorance, that becomes a huge red flag.
Pop the balloon.
Trust the process. Trust the process and understand that you hired a professional. In my case, I've been doing this for 23 plus years. You hired me for a reason.
Yeah.
So trust the process.
Okay. All right. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it. I'm not coming near you with balloons. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. Have you ever had a client try to take your ideas and run?
Yes and no.
And you don't have to say names. I was
No,
just
no,
thinking,
I would never
like,
do that.
with branding, it's like you're going to come up with a lot of ideas. Like, how does credibility look like?
So, what I've learned in these 23 years of doing this is that, I still love it. There did come a time where I did fall out of love with it. And it's because it was a personal thing. I just felt like in the grand scheme of the world, where do I fit?
Yeah.
But I also was going through a transition phase because I went from living in New York and New Jersey all my life to living in Texas. And I went from being more outdoorsy and doing manly things to like, does design still fit in this world?
Oh, in Austin.
Yeah, in Texas.
Okay, in Texas.
Houston and then Austin. But that's, like I said, that was a personal journey. But like with anything that you've been in love with for so long, I fell back in love with it. Now, with that said, when you've done something for so long and have been in love with it, not loving it, in love with it, you learn to consistently evolve. And one of those things I've learned to consistently evolve is, I'm Latino, so use that brujo's eye that mama taught me to use, learn how to read people, and get really great lawyers. Get really great lawyers so that if all of that brujo wisdom doesn't work, like meaning you know who you're dealing with, you've done your research, you've done your homework, and you feel like, okay, this person checks all the boxes. I want to be invested in their business as much as they are. If for some weird reason that doesn't work, something slipped through the cracks, have really great lawyers.
Yeah.
Great lawyers will help you. So in the past, to answer you, there was one company out of New York that cut the project at mid-stride. And then we found out that although the project wasn't finished and money was due, they still tried to continue with their efforts based on our hard work. So we got lawyers on top of them, and that was that.
Pop the balloon.
Pop the balloon.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay.
But it doesn't happen that much anymore. It's very rare because, like I said, I think when you've done something for so long and you love it, you learn to read the room. You learn to read the people that you're working with.
Okay. So you talked a lot about research, right? What does research look like in the brand building process?
Oh, that's a great question.
Because you said just research, you know, but like what does research look like? Like what are we researching?
Sure. Great question. So whenever you want to create a strategy for a client, right, and everyone's strategy and approach to this particular product or service and the target audience and demographic you're trying to serve, you have to research what those implementations will be. So, for example, I don't know, let's say we're talking about pizza. Everyone knows what pizza is. There's so many pizza joints out there.
Yeah.
But what's going to make your particular pizza the best, right? Maybe the ingredients are slightly different. Maybe you're only selling out pizza that's farm to table and you're only making 100 pies that day. Once those 100 pies are out, then that's your unique story and your approach. So we start to research and compare you to other people in not only in your direct.
So it's like more of an ethical niche.
In that particular case, the scenario we're painting, yes. So then we start to compare you to what's in the market right now. Are there other people like that? If there is, then let's continue that storyline, but adjust it so that it becomes only your storyline. We're researching to see, what the trademark database looks like based on the name you chose. Like, is your name available? Are the domain names available? Are the social media channels available for that? So it's a lot of research that goes into basically identifying, do you have competition? Can this be a viable business? And then lastly, once we have all of those ducks in a row, making sure that your story is unique and it resonates with your target audience. So that's where a lot of the research goes in. So it's a big onboarding and intake phase where we do all of that before we execute any cool looking logos and websites and videos and music or whatever, all the different assets that, correlate to the microcosm you're building, the little mini universe that is your brand.
Interesting. Yeah, you're making me think about shit. I was just like, what about
Good.
Pizza Hut?
I like to make people think.
I was like, what's up with Pizza Hut? Oh, the brand, it's a hut. That's the style of their houses, like where they sell pizza. It's like a hut, looks like a house. You know?
That's funny you bring that up because they try to go through a rebrand where they were just trying to call themselves The Hut because they no longer were just selling pizza. They were selling pasta, salads, etc. But that's an instance where their target audience said no, like that's not for us.
Yeah, you can't do The Hut. It's Pizza Hut.
And then another brand that did do that and failed was Radio Shack. They tried to call themselves The Shack.
That is true.
And
but
failed.
Dunkin' is doing that right now. They're not trying to call themselves Dunkin' Donuts. They're just trying to call Dunkin'.
Yeah, and honestly, they also did that for other reasons too, because whenever you create your brand, you have to think about how does it embroider, how does it print, every character. That's what they say. The best names are 5-letter names, right? Nike, whatever you call it. I always think of the song. Esos son Reebok, esos son Nike.
Mina, Mina.
Yeah. So like
Spice, SPICE.
Or there's a great cleaning business out there right now called Rinse. I mean. So why short names are the best? Your brain is lazy. It wants to remember the simplest things. That's why Starbucks logo is very rare. You see the full Starbucks logo. Now you just see the mermaid in a little circle.
I say Starbies.
Starbies.
Let's go get Starbies.
So like why are apps so flat and simple to look at? They want you to identify it. So when you're swiping through your phone.
Okay, so I guess that's why we're like Instagram, IG. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it. Wow.
Yeah, but you have to listen to the audience because another mistake business owners make or aspiring business owners is, this is what I want. That's cool, but remember why you're doing this.
Yeah, facts.
To make money, whether it's primary, secondary, or supplemental. How do you make that money? By, satiating and pleasing your audience.
That part. All right, we got some love in the check-in. Marv, shout out to Mark for getting me into collecting again. What's that about? What are you collecting?
So I have a podcast called the Show and Tell Podcast. Like I said, it's a hobby podcast, but it's funny. This hobby podcasting is now turning into a thing. We got 3,200 views with our last guest, this toy store. So it's all about nostalgia, pop culture, and collecting, whether it's comic books, statues, toys, retro, vintage stuff. So we talk about it, and kind of like your show, it's all about the people and the story behind the people. So it's not really about the collecting. It's more about the people that collect and why are you collecting.
Yeah.
And we've heard so many stories from when I was a kid. I was so poor, I played with rats, and those were my toys.
Yo.
I think that's why that last episode hit 3,200 views, because people were like, bro, what? This story went left field.
Yo, facts.
But that's a hobby podcast, and that's how I met Marvin, and then how we got invited to the Christmas party. I mean, not Christmas party, Marvin's birthday party. Sorry, and met you and the rest. But like I said, I do my research. I was already watching your show. I was watching everyone's show, so because I wanted to know what is this world that Marvin has built, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm like a Fruit Loop in a box of Cheerios. That's literally me. I know my personality is strong. It's spicy. It's funny. I like to get along with people. Just want to be a positive footprint in your life.
Make your mark. You only have one chance at it, right?
That part, and one chance is all you need.
That's right. Build your legacy.
Period. All right. So we also got shout out to Ghost, the great one out here showing love in the check-in. Appreciate you, Doug. So let me talk to you about this. So especially because this is now something that is everywhere. What are your thoughts on AI and branding in 2025 and beyond?
That is so funny because I'm actually going to Vegas in a couple of weeks to do a big presentation on building a solid brand foundation. And one of the panelists in my presentation does AI. He's an AI consultant. He went from IT to AI. And we constantly argue. And the argument is this. He says, it's going to take over everyone's job, even yours. And I said, no, not necessarily. Like right now, AI is this. I'm assuming that logo you made, the Mina Mendoza, is that AI influenced?
So that was made for me. Shout out to Marv. So you got to talk to him.
All right, because the illustration looks like AI style.
But for anybody that went to my show on Sunday, I look just like the sticker. So it's not that I can't look like that. I do look like that.
Well, I mean, it's an illustration, but I don't know if someone did it by hand. But regardless, will AI take certain jobs? Yes and no. For example, even in my office or the agency that I work in, and this is kind of like sad, but like great at the same time. It's sad because it put a copywriter that we've worked with out of business, for us at least. I'm sure she's still moving on.
I'm dead.
But
that's messed up.
At the same time,
not ChatGPT taking this job.
We have things that are better than Chat, but ChatGPT is great. And we're gonna get into why it's
put
great.
us on. What else is good?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll put you guys on. So there's another thing called Sintra.ai, and that's like building your own AI employees into your business. So you can get, I think, there's several promotion codes out there, but instead of paying $500 a year, you could pay only $180 for the first year, and you get 12 virtual employees. You could get a personal assistant
to do what?
To do your social media, to help you write contracts, to help you manage your business, to help you visualize your business.
What's this called? Sintra?
Sintra. Sintra. I should be using my promo code so I could get credit for this, but regardless.
Yo, put that promo code out, Doug. Put it out.
So you have that. There's Claude.ai, which is great for helping you write codes for websites. There's ChatGPT. But all of those different AI engines and models, what they have in common is that it only works as a great tool for you and your business if you feed it the right information.
Yes.
So it's a tool.
You got to work with it.
Correct, right? If you have a great tool and you don't oil it, you don't use it properly, what happens? It pardon my French, it fucks things up.
It does.
So it's like a tool like anything. So that's why, will AI replace certain people? Yes and no. Did it replace my copywriter? Yes. Do I miss arguing for 3 hours in a day about a project and her writing a specific piece of copy that didn't make sense? I've cut that out. I've cut out that pay, and now we still have people have copywriting abilities within the agency, but we rely a lot on ChatGPT. It's just faster.
Yeah.
You know? Now, will it replace our artists and the people that we work with, or will it replace someone to do a logo? No, ChatGPT is not there yet. Will it be there one day? Maybe, because the AI system and model is constantly learning.
Like updating, yeah.
But what ChatGPT AI will never replace is this: the one-on-one,
organic,
the face-to-face,
cadence,
the belly-to-belly, and that intimacy that one builds with working with one another. So, for example, I've been doing this for 23 years, and my experience living in Texas, traveling the world, going all over the U.S. and finding chicharrón in the South and calling it crackling, those stories are my stories. And then I can apply those stories or those experiences onto whatever it is that I'm working on for you. Like, I'm a broad, life-lived person, and AI hasn't lived. It's not even sentient. So it's not. I don't think it can ever replace someone who loves the art of storytelling,
Imagine someone falls in love with AI.
There has been cases of that.
Yeah. Like, I saw a movie like that 10 years ago, and it's crazy because, 10 years ago when I saw the movie's called Her. I recommend anybody to watch it. Mm-hmm. It has Scarlett Johansson. Phoenix, yeah. And it was such a good movie because it was that was a device that was an assistant. Yeah. And again, you saying feeding it, you're feeding it information about yourself.
That's what, and then they became friends. The right stuff.
And then love, and then they started having sex, and then the AI cheated on him with other AI. Yo, I remember the question, she was like, I forgot, it was towards the end. Sorry, spoiler. But one of the spoilers.
Because okay. Honestly, it's been out for 10 years. I think it's okay.
But it was crazy. I remember the question. I forgot how they got into the topic, and they were like, oh, so how many people have you been talking to? Oh, yeah. She was like 2,186.
Yeah, she gave him the facts.
What the fuck? He was just like, yo, are you talking to someone right now? Yeah. Yes.
And I'll blow your mind. There was a movie that was influenced on from the 80s called Electric Dreams, where before it was an app, it was like his Macintosh that by accident he spilled water on it and it became sentient. And that was his computer fell in love with him and became possessive, and it led to I don't even remember.
I'm like picturing the computer trying to walk and like you're trying to get
it was just
it
was weird. It was like controlling other electric thing. I don't know, it was weird, but
I had a weird ass dream that my refrigerator was trying to kill me. Yo, that dream was weird.
Wow.
And then, I'm talking to one of my friends. He's like, so your refrigerator was running? Like the joke?
Yeah.
I was like, no, but that ass in my dream, that shit was trying
the drums.
Yo, dog, the refrigerator was trying to kill me, yo. That shit was trying to get through my door. I was like, hey, yo, that shit was scary. I still remember that dream. That shit was like last week.
I had a weird dream this morning where I was smoking a cigar, and it was like an endless cigar, and I woke up like the taste of cigar in my mouth. That's crazy. It was weird. It like legit felt like I just smoked a cigar. The mind's a powerful thing.
Definitely is. All right. So what's the legacy you want to leave behind through your work? You've been doing this for 23 years. What is that?
Know. Don't try to guess my age.
I'm not.
My legacy is my son. So I have an 8-year-old boy.
Aww.
And my job is that everything I build, everything I do is for him. And ideally, right, I think this is every parent's dream, to pass on that skill, that ability, and everything I've built onto him. Now, if he does not want to follow in daddy's footsteps, his dad's footsteps, then, that's the next phase for me. I want to build a proper exit strategy. I think everyone focuses on the startup strategy or the startup, but no one focuses on the exit strategy. There's actually a really good book out there. I don't know if it's Seth Godin, but it's called The Dip. And it's talking about when to leave your business, when is the right time, or when all is said and done, how do you exit properly? Like, what's your strategy to leave?
When the cops come.
Yeah.
No, let me stop.
But my legacy is, I hope that I've, built enough like foundation, and obviously after that foundation is built, everyone that I've worked with, I've touched them. Pause. Right?
I'm dead.
In a special way. Once again, pause.
That's suspicious.
Period.
In a way where they felt like, you know what, working with Marqus has really changed, not only my business life, but my personal life as well, because I've learned so much, and I've never thought to think this way. So, I mean, obviously we all pursue the monetary success, right? Making money. Mm-hmm. But I want to feel that I've educated and empowered enough people to pursue their dreams.
So you want to be impactful.
I want to be impactful, continue to be impactful, and give everyone the confidence they need to pursue their dreams.
Let me ask you something. If confidence had a brand, what would it smell like?
Like tobacco, because obviously
tobacco.
That
shit kills you, dog. That shit kills you.
No, what would it smell like? Actually, no. There was this Versace cologne that was made with tobacco, and it was like the most unique smelling cologne I've ever smelled in my life. But what would it smell like? I don't know. Like freshly printed money. When you have that crisp bill and you smell it, and it smells like no paper you've ever smelt before. It doesn't feel like any paper you've ever felt before. So if confidence had a smell, I guess like newly printed money.
For me, I think if confidence had a smell,
a fragrance.
I don't know why this popped up, but I would love it to smell like the rain after it rains in the summer.
Okay, yeah, well, that's yeah.
Because it's comfy. Like, it's comforting. And, like, if I could smell something comforting, then, I don't know, it makes me more confident. Like, I don't know.
Like, I like that.
I don't know. Like, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, if I smell this, like, I wouldn't mind confidence smelling like that. Because I feel like it's enough where the air is clear, but also it just went through something, but you feel good. Yeah. I don't know. That's what I thought right now.
So I have a question for you.
What's
Before
up?
I've obviously, got into the world of branding, what did you consider before hearing me speak, or before you did your research, right, on me and what it is that I provide? What was a brand to you?
I mean, a brand, I know a little bit about branding because I do it for myself.
Okay.
So, like, for me, something that I always knew that branding is definitely research, because you want to reach out to the right community. Like, what do you want your niche to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, when I was creating the Mina Mendoza Show years ago, like the Queen of Spice. The Queen of Spice is a brand. Spice is a brand, you know?
Yeah.
Me having the chili pepper tattoo is building my brand. The Spice Girls is the brand. Like, you know, like, I feel like it's about keeping having fun with it, you know, because, like, you want to be creative in that process. And I feel like when you're not having fun, it's too serious. It's going to be, like, too serious.
Yeah.
So I feel like branding is just building a part of yourself that the whole world could see.
Yeah.
And know what you mean. So, like, for example, like, if someone sees the chili pepper, my end goal would be like, oh, that's Mina Mendoza. Oh, that's the Queen of Spice, you know? Or if you hear, ew, like, that's a brand. That's a brand that I built for myself. Have other people, period. Exactly. I got the sound. So it's just like, it's building yourself and your kingdom and having people appreciate that and also going with it, you know? Like, I don't know. That's what I think of branding is like you're creating an environment, but also an identity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
But to me, 5 years ago, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, but me working with people and learning to keep evolving, because that's something that you got to do with your brand. You got to stay consistent. You have to continuously make it grow. You have to do new things sometimes. Like, for example, we just did something branding right now. Shout out to Najee. Like, fucking rebranded my song.
Yeah.
We created a new song for my intro.
That's a part of it because it adds to the culture that is the Queen of Spice, right?
Period. Yeah. Exactly. So it's like, yeah, another identity, another environment.
Yeah, and the word branding, honestly, is still fairly new. Like, it became popularized probably in the early 2000s. Prior to that, it mainly consisted of identity. But the word branding and the act of branding has been around for centuries.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were a farmer and you have this specific cattle and it happened to get lost into another patch of land, oh, that's Jim Bob's cattle because it has the JB on the hind or whatever. And cavemen did the same thing. They were branding certain people in their tribe so people knew this particular warrior or individual pertains to this tribe.
I'm going to ask you something. We're going to get funny. What's a business trend that needs to retire ASAP?
A business trend that needs to retire ASAP. That's a tough one. I'll tell you, I mean, I think a business that needs adjusting, life insurance.
I don't know why I thought about Life Alert.
No, I mean, life insurance is very important because it's all about it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, which is a motto I live by. But there's so many people in the world of financial planning and life insurance that it has muddied its meaning. That now if I'm at a networking event for professionals and someone tells me like, oh, I do life insurance, like I kind of cringe. Oh. Because it's kind of like, oh, gee, here we go. Like, give me the pitch. And it's always the same pitch. And, you know, there was one guy, Grant Cardone, which I'm not a Grant Cardone fan. You know, he's into real estate development. He does a 10X system. But he said, actually, no, I'm sorry. It was Robert Kiyosaki. I'm probably messing up all these names. Okay. He does Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he was on, I think, Vlad TV, and he said something about financial planners. He goes, why would I want someone who does this as a job and is not a millionaire or a billionaire helping me with my millions and billions when they don't know what it's like to do what I do? So I think that's an industry that needs some adjusting. Yeah. I wouldn't do away with it because it is a necessary thing. But especially if you have children, it's a great way to do legacy building. But it needs some adjusting in its messaging and its approach. Okay.
So we also got some love in the check-in. We got Christopher Hurtado.
Oh,
that's my boy. That's my boy. All right, let me talk to you real quick. You're stranded on an island. You could only bring one logo. What is it?
Oh, that's a great question.
Thank you.
One logo. Oh, my goodness.
McDonald's.
No, I think it would be, I want to say Nike.
Nike?
Yeah.
Just the check?
Just the swoosh, yeah. Why? Because there's a lot of story behind that logo. That logo was meant to represent the wings of Hermes, the messenger god in like Greek and Roman mythology. He was the deliverer of messages. And on his chancletas, his sandals, he had wings. But obviously when it's flying, it's in that, kind of swoosh movement.
Yeah.
So that's what it's based on. And the word Nike is also another Greek and Roman influenced word. It means, I think, victory or something like that.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So would you say a rebranding for Nike is just do it?
What do you mean by that?
Because they have that now, just do it.
So
now.
That's their slogan, and it's always good to...
I noticed them adding that now.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that for quite some time. So that became popularized, I think, during the when Bo Jackson was around, Michael Jordan, and it was kind of like a push to their audience. Like, don't think about how much it costs. Don't think about what's involved. Just do it, right?
Okay.
It's kind of like McDonald's. I'm loving it, right? So those slogans are also super important because they add, how do you sum up either the culture, the action, or the want, the need you want to create with your business, and that's your slogan. And slogans can change, but ideally your logos shouldn't change. You should have they say a great logo should last at least 10 years. The greatest ones last hundreds of years, but it's very rare that there's been a logo that's lasted 100 years. I don't think we've tested those waters quite yet.
Now I'm like, what's a logo that I think probably lasted a while?
McDonald's logo has been around for quite some time.
Yeah, the golden arches, those M's. Shout out to The Founder. That was a movie that taught me a lot about McDonald's, but it was such a great movie.
It's an amazing movie.
Because it's like I learned that McDonald's is just real estate.
It's not only real estate, but they're the first business to create a true systems and operations when it comes to getting the food you want at a faster rate. Yeah,
he stole the idea.
A lot of
he stole the idea, but they should have jumped on with him, dog. They should have jumped. Yo, they would have been billionaires. Like, more than that. I don't even know. But it's like, you know what? Y'all skipped out on that. And that's crazy when I think about the team that guy built.
Yeah.
Was the people that worked in the McDonald's. Was the people flipping the burgers. He was like, yo, how about take you with me?
And that ties into bring it full circle. Trust the process, right?
That's
Trust
true.
the people that are coming from the outside in. You've been so immersed in your world that you're so focused on the subjective, right? What only caters to you, that you don't know how other people from the outside are looking in. So trust those that come in that have the greatest of intentions.
Yeah.
But also, like we said earlier, get the right people, get the right team involved so people are not stealing your ideas. And like you said, in the movie, he elevated the people that stuck with him.
Yeah,
Community.
He did.
Trust the people that are invested in you. Invest in those that are invested in you so you can invest in them.
Those two guys were too scared to spend money. And his mindset is like, nah, we got to spend money.
You got to spend money to make money.
Period.
Invest in yourself.
That part. All right, how about this? What would corporate graffiti look like?
Oh my goodness! I think we saw it with the Cybertruck.
Okay, yeah, it's true. That is true.
It was a great attempt.
Okay.
It was something.
Okay.
But I think once you put corporate into the graffiti, then the love and the act of rebellion, which is graffiti, goes away. But the world of graffiti has been dealing with that contention and that issue, or that paradox rather, for quite some time, because even in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, you would see famous graffiti artists having art shows. And in one side is a double-edged sword. On one side, it's legitimizing this as art.
Yeah.
But on the other side, from the streets perspective, it's like, oh, damn, bro, you sold out, So it's like, which one is better? Selling out and making money and making a name for yourself, or being true to the streets and the homies?
But then look at Banksy.
Yeah.
Banksy does his street. It does it out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we just live in a world where, like, I feel like we've learned to become more acceptable to things and learning that it's not just one way. It's not one way anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of movies, there's a great movie out there about Banksy, and I think to this day he still hasn't identified himself.
Nope.
Right? Yeah.
Nope. No one knows who he is.
Yeah. His graffiti is totally different. Just like I mentioned, that person Space Invader. Banksy's all about political or worldly topics and his commentary on it through art, right? Through this mixed medium that he does, which is really great.
Yeah. Okay. So, if you had to pitch yourself Shark Tank style in 60 seconds, how would it go? I'm gonna put a timer. Tell me when to go.
I guess. Hold
on. I'm putting a timer. Hold on. Wait. Stopwatch. All right. 1, 2, 3. Shark Tank.
That's a hard one because I'm not pitching a product, but if I were to pitch myself as a product, you're investing in experience. You're investing in someone who's taking chances, who's taking the risks, who has sight beyond sight, who's invested in you as much as you're invested in yourself, who sees the bigger picture, who can help you see that bigger picture if you trust the process, and understands this world of not only the startup, but also the corporate world, right? And I've lived life on both tracks, right? On the good side and the bad side. From the streets, like you said, from spray paint to strategy.
Period. Okay.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
There you go. 44 seconds. All right, how much money you need?
I need at least $3 million.
No go. Don't go. Okay, I'm with it.
Which is chump change in today's world with all this inflation and all that.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead because time is going by very quick. I'm going to give you the Mina Mendoza card. Do you know anything about this card, Marcus?
I do not, unfortunately. Shame on me.
So, this is the Mina Mendoza card. One thing about the Mina Mendoza card, think of this as like an American Express platinum card.
Okay.
But this is a fun card. You're never going to owe it back. But there's a trick to this. You could only have it for 24 hours.
Okay.
So that means the minute it turns 12 a.m., it's yours, you're rocking. But any second after 11:59 p.m., it's gone.
Okay.
So you want to be realistic with what you're asking for. Like if you're taking a plane ride that's going to take you 6 hours there and also 6 hours back, you have to understand that that's 12 hours out of your 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this to you.
Okay.
What is Marcus going for?
What am I going for?
Everything. The world's your oyster right now. We just want to know if you got an unlimited credit card. What are you doing?
Oh, what am I doing with the unlimited credit card?
Yo, give me that shit back. Like, yo, what the hell? Like, yes.
I'm traveling more freely, right? With no bounds.
What are you doing? Pre-buying
I'm traveling
these
with
tickets?
my son. What's that?
You're pre-buying these tickets?
I'm pre-buying all these tickets. I'm traveling the world with my son, my team, my people, my tribe.
Let's go.
I'm reinvesting even more into my business. I'm going to be a venture capitalist, invest in other people's ideas and businesses. All this within 24 hours, right?
Yeah,
so I'm doing a lot of pre-investment.
You going shopping?
Yeah, I'll do some shopping.
Where are you going to shop?
Maybe since this is an unlimited
Unlimited
credit
card, dog.
Unlimited, I'll get myself a Patek Philippe watch.
Okay.
Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Am I gonna get a Ferrari? No. Maybe I'll get another nice 4x4 to go road tripping with.
Okay.
Maybe add Eddie Bauer's what's that thing called? The Streamline, the silver thing you attach with like nice amenities in it.
Okay.
I'm very selfless. I want to do things for other people. So that's as far as the extent of spoiling myself goes into.
Damn, you're not hiring the copywriter back?
No.
Yo, you can stay where you at. You can stay where you
But
at.
I will invest in other AI platforms. I'll do that. Maybe I'll buy stock in one of the the prominent AI systems that are out there and just keep investing. I want to invest because today is Today is a gift because that's why they call it the present. Mm-hmm. So every day is a gift to me, but I want to invest in the future because the future is very unpredictable.
Okay.
So.
Anything else before you give the card back? The world's your oyster, Doug.
And then buy a huge house where family and friends can have guest
houses.
houses.
Where would this house be?
I'd go back to Texas.
Go back to Texas.
I would go back to Texas. I would still keep a place here in New York, New Jersey. I would buy a loft in Tribeca, New York.
Okay.
But my huge estate where family and friends can come and visit and live in guest houses would be in Texas. Nice. I love Texas too much.
I've never been to Texas, but I hear so many great things
beautiful.
about Texas.
There's Texas is one of the largest states in the United States, and they say it takes 24 hours or more to go from tip to tip or something like that. I could be totally wrong in that, but in other words, it's a huge state to travel in. So every little city in Texas is very unique. But it's major cities like Houston and Austin. Oh, man, if you love great food, you love to meet eclectic people and have a good time, Houston and Austin. Okay. H-Town, HTX, and ATX. Those places are amazing.
Nice. All right. Definitely got to make it my way there. Anything else you're doing with the card?
I think that's it.
You sure?
I off the top of my head, yes. You put me on the spot, so...
You get a new iPhone.
I do need a new iPhone.
New microphone.
I've dropped it so many times.
New microphone. You already mentioned the car. You said you'll do some shopping.
You know what? I do one more thing with this. I'd help Marvin invest in an even more luxurious podcast studio.
Ooh, okay. There you go. Bravery up. Let's go. Bravery up. All right. Give me the card back.
There you go.
All right, y'all heard it.
Está caliente from using it so much.
24 hours with the Mina Mendoza card. Let's get a round of applause. Ew. Did you think? All right, my love. So we only have 2 minutes left in the show. I'm going to ask you one more question before we go. What's your wildest after hours client experience?
Oh, my God. Too many.
Your best one.
Oh, my best one. Oh, my goodness. There's so many.
Spicy.
Okay. One of my wildest after hours experiences with a client. So I used to hang out. My first office was by the World Trade Center. I used to hang out at this bar in Tribeca called South's. South plural. It was owned by a British guy, a Texan, and some other dude. My favorite bartender there was Jason. He was British. And every time I'd show, I was like, "Hey, what's up, geezer?" I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And on the penthouse of that floor lived Mariah Carey. I'm sure that's one of her many places. We used to hang out with her limo driver or personal driver, which was a retired NYPD. His name was Tommy, older, white Irish guy. We used to get that guy really fucking drunk.
And then drive her?
And so
she would drive her drunk.
So normally we would catch him when he stopped the clock. But one night he was on call. He's, "Guys, I can't go crazy with you guys tonight." I said, "Come on, Tommy." And then Jason, the bartender, the British guy, was really good at egging people on. I was like, "Hey, Tommy, I smell pink over here, mate." And they're like, "What do you mean you smell pink?" "As in you smell like a vagina, mate. Drink the drink, stop bullshitting." And he's like, "All right, F you guys." And he starts we're pounding Jägermeister, whiskey, everything. All of a sudden, it's like the sun's coming out. It's 5 or 6 a.m. And then all of a sudden, we're laughing, busting this guy's chops. And all of a sudden, Tommy. And it's this lady with sunglasses on. And at the time, it was I think Juicy Couture, those velour outfits. Peering through the door, "Tommy, I need you." And we all look and is that fucking Mariah Carey? And I never get starstruck, but I was starstruck.
Oh, shit.
She looked like she had a glow to her. This is when Mariah Carey was the shit. And so we're like, "Dude, Mariah Carey's calling." He's like, "Fuck you guys. Now I got to go drive her." Long story short, I haven't been to South in a long time. I finally show up. I'm like, "I haven't seen Tommy around, Jason. What's up with Tom?" "Oh, you fucker. You better run, mate. He's after you. He's headhunting after you." "Why? What did I do?" He's like, "After that night, mate, the man took Mariah Carey's 7 Series Beamer and wrapped it around the light pole. He crashed that shit. He crashed that shite," or whatever he used to say the word. I'm like, "What? With Mariah Carey?" And I said, "Yeah, mate. The guy fell asleep on the wheel and wrapped that 7 Series Beamer around the light pole. And luckily, Mariah Carey had a detail car behind her, and they picked her up, swooped her up, and took her to the airport." And I guess she was going somewhere. And then,
I thought you were going to say the hospital. No, you're jumping on a plane.
And then he got fired, clearly. Oh. And after that, he was, trying to, I guess, I don't think he was really trying to kill us.
I think so. I think so, Doug. That's an important job.
Hey, no one forced his hand,
You're a retired cop.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do?
That was one of my craziest after hours stories.
All right. Y'all heard it. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
All right, Marcus, I want you to be able to tell the viewers what your Instagram handle looks like, YouTube. Give it all so people know how they can find you. Some last minute shout outs before we end the show.
Yeah, thank you. You can find me on Instagram. I'm mostly on Instagram. You can find me personally at Made by Aycart. That's AYCART.
Yeah, I heard it.
The website's the same, madebyaycart.com. That's my personal creative page. So if you need help with a consultation or something like that, or actually have a project you want help with, find me at Made by Aycart. You can also find the agency I work with, Forager Brands. That's on Instagram at Forager Brands. And the website's the same thing, foragerbrands.com. And if you're looking to network and you're looking to get professional referrals and build a professional community with other startups and professionals, I am the strategic brand partner of LeTip International. That's LETIP. Their website is letip.com, letip.com. They've been around since 1978. Their number one modus operandi, their goal is to help professionals and business owners to network, refer, and then grow. And there's a big convention coming up in Las Vegas, May 1st through the 3rd. Interested in going to Vegas, have fun, but also be productive with your business. Go to letip.com, sign up, and use my code for 10% off. It's CONV Marqus, MARQUS. That's Marcus with a Q, not a C. And you'll get 10% off. And it's honestly the most competitive investment you'll make in terms of a conference. Others are thousands of dollars. This one for $350, and you get 10% off to not only be in Vegas, but also connect with businesses from all over the U.S. and even Canada. I recommend you don't miss that opportunity.
Let's go. Y'all heard it. All right, Marcus, I think you've been an amazing guest. I hope you had a great time at the Mina Mendoza Show.
I had a fantastic time.
Hey, period. For everybody that locked in with us, thank you so much for supporting the episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, hit up your girl on Instagram. That's Queen of Spice, Queen #0F Spice. And, keep showing the love to the Mina Mendoza Show. Definitely hit me up. Let's collaborate. Let's network. A lot of great things are going to continue to happen. And that's pretty much it. It's your girl, Mina Mendoza, little girl, big personality, Queen of Spice. We out of here.